Tonight on Canning with Leah, we are freezing jalapeno poppers. So if you're like me, right now I'm having an abundance of jalapenos from my garden. And I personally love jalapeno poppers. So what I've been doing for the past few years is preparing several of them ahead of time, freezing them, so that later on throughout the year I can take them out of the freezer, wrap them in bacon, put them in the smoker, and then you have delicious jalapeno poppers year round. So I'm going to show you step by step how I do that. So first of all, you just start by taking your jalapeno, and I wear gloves while doing this just because one time I did it without gloves and my hands were burning for days afterwards. So you just go ahead and slice off a small amount of the end that has the stem on it. And then you just slice your jalapeno in half. And then using your hands, you just kind of take the insides of the jalapeno out on paper towel. And then I set it on a cookie sheet that I'm able to put a cover on, because later, once I have these all stuffed, I'll go ahead and put them in a freezer overnight before I put them all into a Ziploc bag. So I'm going to go ahead and just clean all of these jalapenos, and I do recommend starting doing each batch with about 20 jalapenos. That's kind of a nice number. If you have a little less, that's fine. If you have a little more, that's fine too. You'll just adjust the amount of filling that you put into each jalapeno. So we'll go ahead and get all of these cleaned out. All right, now that I have all of my jalapenos sliced and cleaned out and laying flat on a cookie sheet, it's time to go ahead and prepare the stuffing for the jalapeno poppers. So I use my KitchenAid mixer to mix it up very nicely. So I start with a 8-ounce brick of cream cheese. Put that into your bowl. And then stick into this. Scrape it off on the little paddle thing, mixer. All right, so that's in there. And then a packet of ranch seasoning mix. And just a splash of milk. And then I also will add some shredded cheese, but first I like to mix the seasoning with the cream cheese first, just to start having it mixed together nicely. So just mix that for a little while. Okay, and then I'll be adding a cup of shredded cheese. So that's going to be about a half of this bag. And I prefer using cheddar cheese, but tonight in my house I only have the cheddar jack cheese, which is perfectly fine. So we'll use that. You don't have to be super picky about the cheese. And so we'll go ahead and mix the cheese in. And my little jalapeno helper is here. All right, now I have all the filling mixed together here, and I just kind of scraped all the edges down to make it a ball on the bottom of the bowl, and I put my KitchenAid away. So now what I'll do is just with a spoon, just take a little bit of the filling on the spoon, and then grab your half of a jalapeno, and just fill the jalapeno to the top edges of the jalapeno with your filling. I found that you don't really want to overfill your jalapenos, because when you go to smoke them in the smoker, this stuff can start to, or the filling can start to melt out and drip out, and then that's just a waste of filling. So just fill them moderately to the top of your jalapenos. All right, and so now that I have all of my jalapenos filled, I actually ended up filling about 30 jalapenos, because I did pick them a little bit smaller this time. So basically just use as many jalapenos as you need to use up your filling. And so now that I have them all filled, I'm gonna go ahead and just cover them and then pop them into the freezer And then tomorrow night, I'll show you what they look like when they come out of the freezer. All right, and so now that the jalapeno poppers were in the freezer overnight, I'm taking them out and I am going to transfer them to a Ziploc bag. So they freeze very nicely, and I basically just take them and throw them all into the Ziploc bag. And then during the year, you take them out just maybe like an hour or so before you want to start smoking them, and then wrap them in bacon, smoke them for a little while until the bacon is done, and they are delicious. There, so now we have a bag of frozen jalapeno poppers. Now make sure to like this video and subscribe to Canning with Leah. Good night.